All right, you guys, welcome back to Roads Untraveled. My name is Marcus, as always. And in my hand right here is the key to this beautiful Euro-spec E36 BMW M3, which we are about to go take for a drive. Key differences, okay? More power, 286 horsepower, obviously naturally aspirated inline 6, and ITBs. It's very exciting. So let's get in, see how this compares to that other big turbo E36 M3 we drove a while ago. E36 M3 back on the channel once again. The last E36 M3 I drove was actually the first M car I'd ever driven, and it had like 600 horsepower at the wheels. It was a big turbo, heavily modified. So this one's a little bit different. It is pretty close to stock, and this is a Euro-spec E36 M3. So for all you guys in the States who have, you know, I know there are a lot of M guys out there who try to replicate whatever the Euro-spec model was of the era, right? As far as I know, the biggest changes are this Euro-spec E36 has about 50 more horsepower, so it's got 286 horsepower from the factory, from this naturally aspirated inline 6, obviously. The Euro-spec has ITBs, individual throttle bodies up front. They sound great, they look awesome, and I think this was one of the last generations of BMWs and just cars in general that really, when you pop the hood, you don't have a manufacturer that's trying to just cover it up with a big plastic engine cover, right? You can see the individual throttle bodies, and everything just looks really clean, and it looks like it has purpose, and it's got a lot of just manual, analog aesthetic, you know, things about it that make it super special, which is good. But enough about the engine bay. I am driving a E36 M3, which means it is high time we start taking some corners around here, because that's what this car is all about. 6,000, 7,000 and shift. Oh, this thing is lovely. Lovely. Floor hinge gas pedal always takes a little bit to get used to. So rev matching takes a second, but once you get the hang of it, I mean, this chassis is like the perfect size. You don't get much understeer, and you don't get oversteer unless you like really want it, right? Especially with these sticky tires. What do I like about the E36 platform? What do I feel right off the bat with this car? Absolutely, first off, like, throttle response is on point. All the inputs are great. The owner of this car has a shifter actually from a Z3M coupe, right? So that's like the clown shoe, the hatchback, right? So he's got that shifter in it. Really good shifting feel. Throttle position is great. Pedal position is on point. And with this aftermarket steering wheel, it's a little bit smaller than stock, and it's got a little bit of a dish to it. So as you can tell, it's nice and pushed close to me right now, and driving position is great. The one thing to really love about the E36 chassis in general, and this isn't even specific to this Euro-spec M3, is just the size of the car. This chassis is perfect, and I mean, it's no wonder so many people love to take these cars, you know, to the autocross, to track days. Jeez, oversteer, that was fun. Getting to know the car a little bit, but yeah, it's the perfect size. You can really rein it in relatively easily, and it's very smooth power, very smooth power. So we're also running an aftermarket exhaust right now. Little bit bassy at lower RPMs, but I wouldn't call it droney. It's just a little bit bassy if you're kind of cruising around 2,000 or 3,000 RPM. Throttle response is instant, and this car, I mean, apart from an exhaust, it's basically stock in terms of engine modifications. Even for a car from '94, this is held up awesome. Held up really nicely. Awesome sounds, really awesome sounds. 7,000. It's just, you know, bare bones, simple, all black interior, straight up black, nothing to really distract you, aside from these awesome, just colorful, these really colorful door cards and stuff, very 90s colors all up in here. And same with the steering wheel, it's got some nice stitching on it. Of course, that's aftermarket. I mean, the paintwork is phenomenal. The car is extremely clean. This is probably the cleanest E36 M3 I've ever seen. Excuse me while I concentrate. Man, oh man. Yeah, it's very simple, it's very basic, and that's just what I love about the E36. But at the same time, the difference between this, say, and a stock E30 M3 is this can actually keep up with modern sports cars. I mean, this is way faster than a stock BRZ or an FRS or something like that, whereas an E30 M3 might not be. So I think the throttle response is really what gets me the most about this car. That and the driving position. The driving position is just, I love it. I think it's fantastic. Lots of fun. Interior of the E36 is very, you know, driver focused. It's very much a sports car. So yes, the E36 M3 was built on a four-door chassis, and this is I mean, at heart, it's basically a sedan chassis. You can either get it in a two-door or a four-door, right? But at the same time, this car has so many sports car characteristics that once you're behind the wheel, all that just goes out the window. I mean, this car may as well just have two doors. Or two seats rather, it is. With the exhaust, and taking into consideration that BMW most likely understated their power levels from the factory, it's probably about 300 horsepower or so. Very light car, I think it's about 27 or 2,800 pounds. By modern standards, anything under 3,000 pounds I consider a light car. As you should. 3,000 pounds is fairly light for a car, and this being, you know, 27, 2,800 pounds, it flies around corners. Couple of pops here and there, they're very rare because it's a pretty mild exhaust system. It's not straight through or anything, but this thing is so fun. I think the steering wheel helps a lot, honestly. The amount of dish the steering wheel has is perfect for this car. And this driving position, the visibility is so awesome. Steering feel is pretty light in this car. A lot of the inputs, honestly, are very similar feeling to my MR2. Just in terms of, you know, steering weight and the ratio of the steering rack, it's really good. The owner of this car has basically done everything, right? He's rebuilt the steering rack, he's rebuilt a lot of stuff, all brand new suspension components. Brakes are stock Euro-spec E36 M3 brakes, which are all slotted and stuff, or drilled rather. And a lot of the stuff that you would update on your car, he's basically doing a full restoration. It's taken him a couple years, and it shows. The amount of work and stuff that's in this car is just so great. E36 M3, thumbs up. The only thing, obviously, is that these cars are very expensive to fix when they do go wrong. Luckily, the owner of this car has not had many problems with it. $7,000. Wow. Yeah, it's stable. Things I would change about this car. I'm having to think right now. I think that speaks for itself, right? 6-speed is the obvious one, but that's just, I mean, that's just an era thing. That's 90s for you, right? Other than that, really, I think it's great. It takes a little bit of time to get used to the floor hinge gas pedal, but once you do, really easy to heel toe and rev match and everything. And really get into driving. I mean, the car's really easy to drive, clutch is easy, throttle's easy. I would imagine gas mileage, if you're not pinning it, it's pretty good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit up roadsuntraveled.com for all your automotive needs. Stay up to date on all our content coming out. We've got hats, we've got stickers, we've got all our content up there. If you want to know any of the music that was in this video, head on over to Roads Untraveled as well. You'll find it there too. As well, we have a podcast that goes up every single Wednesday on iTunes, Shout Engine, Stitcher. You can find us there. We'll talk about cars, we'll talk about whatever, and we will talk about the Euro-spec E36 M3. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time.
Bought it off a kid in North Van who was forced to sell it from his old man. Too many speeding tickets with his N, and he was the second owner. It was high mileage but perfect condition and just a great template to start with. Alex, who used to work for us, he's the looks guy with the car, and